And that's what I've always really loved about Malaysia. You never ever feel like an outsider here. And we ended up wanting to come back to Malaysia, but we never ever could. So we tried to recreate Malaysia in our eyes.
My kids went from saya.
So we're in Padana Botanical Garden. That means one thing: we are back in Malaysia after 2.5 years. 2.5 years since we came here. Or since we were last here, which is mental. I remember this.
3 years since our first time.
3 years since our first time, yeah. This will be over 3 years since we first came to Malaysia. I still remember this part before we left. They had it closed off in a lot of places, and you couldn't even access a lot of it because we were still living in the kind of time of PPKM, the COVID time. You know, everyone had to check in and, you know, QR code, sign in, temperature check. You had to wear a mask absolutely everywhere. But things have changed. We're back now. Kami kembali ke Malaysia. And we're super happy, super senang to be back. Feels strange, it feels so weird and so surreal because it's so busy again. You know, KL was totally not this busy back then. You know, this was when Dr. Noor Hisham was on your TV, you know, every day giving numbers. You know, back in March 2020, you know, we didn't actually plan to stay in KL much longer than we initially planned to, and obviously COVID became a bit of an issue when it started coming through, and then lo and behold we got stuck in Malaysia, which actually happened to be one of the best things that happened to us, and we were really happy to do so, really, weren't we?
Yeah.
Do you remember? Yeah. Julia's in amazement of the park, so she's just having her wander around. Oh, she's feeling really coy.
The butter tree.
And is that what it's called, the butter tree?
Yeah, there's a butter fruit as well. No, I was just wondering if you eat that.
Butter fruit?
Yeah.
Or a mentega. Oh yeah, mentega means butter, doesn't it? Yeah.
What fruit is it?
We'll have to look it up.
It's a cacomella. Ha.
Yeah, it does.
It's a cacomella.
It does. It looks like cacamella, but it also looks like a chica inside.
No, it's a cacomella. It's called
Oh, is it?
pisang kaki here. So it's called banana kaki here. We call it apple. Anyway. And obviously we ended up staying out in Bukit Bintang for, you know, God knows how long. We ended up staying in Malaysia for about 6 months. But in that time, we ended up doing a couple of videos, and we never actually planned to ever be vloggers or anything like that. And we ended up having a bit of viral videos and just kind of it taking off from there a bit, and we ended up doing a few videos around Malaysia, and then what happened was when we, you know, it was just such a funny time. I remember in the papers or something, because we said we want to borrow health minister, and that was a kind of leading title. I remember at one point during COVID you weren't even allowed out together, and I remember we went out together and we even got stopped in the car, in the taxi, and the police were like, "Why are you out together?" And we were like, "Oh, we didn't know you weren't allowed out together." Yeah, you were not allowed in a car together. It was one person per car.
One person per car, and if there was more than one of you in the car, you had to have a letter. And it was such a weird time. I remember we would do shopping, and you know, it was the streets were just empty. I remember Jalana Law used to just be a ghost town. Petaling Street was absolute ghost town. There was nothing in Petaling Street. It was crazy. I can probably put some videos back of how things looked, but it was crazy. This kind of area means a lot to us, and we always have really fond memories of it. And I think when we did eventually leave Malaysia during COVID, it was so weird to go back to kind of normal life, and we thought things would be normal back in the West, but they weren't. They certainly weren't.
And we ended up wanting to come back to Malaysia, but we never ever could. So we tried to recreate Malaysia in our eyes through Thailand, but it never really, it couldn't compete. We went to southern Thailand, in fact. We went to Satoon in southern Thailand just to get Roti Canai. We were so sick of eating Thai food at this stage, we had Roti Canai for 24 hours straight.
It was a great idea. I enjoyed it.
It was like, just, we ate so much Roti Canai, and the whole reasoning behind that was we knew that you couldn't get Roti Canai anywhere further than Satoon or, you know, these really, really southern states in Thailand, because Roti Canai doesn't exist. You can find it online, but it's not Roti Canai like you think. It's very different. The Thai Roti Canai is very, very different. And so we wanted to get sick of it, so we ate as much as possible. We actually ate it for about 27 hours in total, because we even had it for breakfast the next day. And after that, we didn't actually crave it for a while. And we actually made it out to Indonesia as well, which was one hell of a trip. You know, people in Malaysia told us that, you know, there is a lot of, there's a big Indonesian community here. There's a lot of Malaysians that came from Indonesia. If you look at places like Negeri Sembilan, and if you look at places in Indonesia like the Minang people, where there is a lot of them in Malaysia. So we kind of feel there is a lot of affinity between the two cultures, and Indonesia felt a lot more like, you know, home and what we kind of perceived and what we wanted, and it was really nice. It was everything Thailand couldn't compete with, but still, obviously, we were missing KL, and we were missing, you know, places like Ipoh, and obviously we couldn't come back for years, and we've been working tirelessly this year, very hard. Julia has been grafting. Julia is the Julia's aged a lot, apparently. No, not at all. She looks younger than ever. I think it's those cheeks. They don't seem to. They don't seem to age. She's the breadwinner between us two. She's the money maker. She's the big dog.
It's not true.
It's true. It's true. 21st century girl. But let me tell you, it's flipping great to be back. I'm sure there'll be a few videos here and there. I don't know how much we'll do. We might not do that much. But we thought we made so many friends in Malaysia through the process, and people that still talk to us today, you know, 2.5 years on, nearly 3 years on, people still talk to us, interact with us through Instagram. You know, they keep up with us, and we made so many friends thanks to the whole COVID period, the videos we did then, and that's what we want to keep up. We never ever intended to be bloggers, YouTubers or anything, you know. We have other business, we have other careers, you know, but we wanted to continue because we met so many people through the process. So actually walking to a place we've actually never ever been to in KL. I thought, Christ, I said, how come we've never actually been to this? I said, we've got to go, and we were in Padana, and then Julie reminded me, and I said, oh, yeah, we've definitely got to go. It's very hard to get anywhere at one point. It was very quiet, and KL was, you know, a time where, you know, you'll never see KL like that ever again in your life. So if you were there, if you were in KL, if you got to see it, or you get to see any of the clips that we made, you know, you'd see how different things were. But it's great to see how things are now, and everything's recovered. And again, there's plenty of tourists here, and it's busy. We were round in Pavilion yesterday, and it was so busy.
Oh my god, yeah.
I've never seen it so busy in my life, KL. It's Christmas shopping as well. Yeah.
Pavilion on Saturday evening before Christmas.
Yeah, that was mental.
That was Pat's idea, obviously.
KL is always full of surprises, and every time you come back, you always find something new. You know, if it's, you know, there's always exciting new foods, restaurants, you know, things you've never ever tried. It's such a diverse culture here that, you know, there's always stuff that you've never ever got round. And despite coming here, you know, this is our 3rd time in Malaysia, and despite having lived here for 6 months at one point, especially in KL, you know, there's always something we have not done. You know, I always think being back home in England, and having travelled more and more places, I always think there's one place the world can learn from. Culturally, that is Malaysia. It's such a diverse culture here that, you know, everyone can feel like it's their home away from home, or it's their second home, you know, or even their first home, you know. Culture here is so diverse, and thanks to that, so many different people living here, and so many different people are proud to call themselves Malaysian. And that's what I've always really loved about Malaysia. You never ever feel like an outsider here, and that's why it's so nice to be back, because you're not an outsider in Malaysia, you know, not like you are in Thailand, not like you are in England. You know, this culture here is so different, and they really do understand integrating everyone into and under that Malaysian flag. Here she is. She's been hiding.
I'm feeling really hot. I think I'm going to put some sunscreen on. But look at my skin.
Right, we never ever finished that video earlier on, so I just want to say we are back in Malaysia. We're going to be doing probably a couple of videos. There's not too many, I don't know how many. We might do a bit of a trip around Malaysia as well. We're hoping to do that. I don't know how much we'll film, but Julie was saying earlier, we have been to Penang, we've done Ipoh before, done Malacca. But we'll probably go back to these places. We'll probably do Penang for Chinese New Year, and Ipoh is one of our favourite cities in Malaysia. So we're looking forward to going back there, and we're going to film something there because it's very close to our hearts. And yeah, very excited to be back. I see there's a lot of tourists back here, and we're heading for lunch now. So we'll see you guys on the next one.